Absolutely. Right. Are you going to be able to last with the sun there? Do you want to adjust now? Or are you all right?
I can't do anything else. This is as good as it's going to get.
All right,
Because
then.
it is literally at this time in the morning, it's literally right there.
Mm-hmm.
And unless I sort out a piece of paper or something and put, which I'm not about to do, by the time we fit, it'll start moving
All
around.
righty.
So,
Sunshine, sun shines on the righteous, right?
sunshine, indeed.
All right, then. Let's go. 3, 2, 1.
This is Trainer Talk the podcast, brought to you by Sharon Gaskin of the Trainers Training Company and me, Jeanette Tessier of the Get That Gang. In our weekly show, we cover news and views from our businesses along with a top-of-mind topic. Of course, it wouldn't be Trainer Talk the podcast without the Dog Walking Digest, and every now and again we invite a guest along to share their experience and expertise. After 90 episodes of just audio, we're now on YouTube as well. So feel free to catch up there. Just search for the Trainers Training Company or the Get That Gang, or download us on audio only through your favourite podcast streamer. So why not sit back with a cuppa, make that journey or chore go a little bit quicker with our weekly inspiration for developing your training business.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Trainer Talk, the podcast. We're at episode number 97. So, Sharon, how are you doing? How was your week last week?
It was very good, very busy. And I think the first thing that we are going to have to talk about was Trainer Talk Live on Friday.
Absolutely. The event of all events, once again virtual, although I think we're the next one's going to be virtual, and the one after that, jury's out, but we're hopeful of getting a live one in before the end of the year for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, great day. Went so quickly, so quickly, but a couple of fantastic speakers and really good sort of lively input from everybody in the afternoon clinic sessions as well. I think it was absolutely brilliant. How was it for you?
It was great, and it's always a good sign when people say that the day went really, really quickly, and it certainly did for me. And I think you're right, that speakers were amazing. Both of their sessions went really quickly, which is a really good sign. The clinic sessions in the afternoon. What really worked well was the speed dating that we had at the beginning of the day.
The accidental speed dating, but yes. Yeah. It was all planned. So here's a bit of woo-woo for you, listeners / viewers.
Woo-woo. Yeah.
A little bit of woo-woo. So long story short, I helped Sharon with the first part of Trainer Talk Live in the morning because Emma, who normally helps, couldn't make it until 11 o'clock. And we had everybody coming into the room from about 9:45, into the Zoom room from about 9:45. And we'd staggered people coming in so that we didn't have a flood of people arriving at once. Although, to be honest, if people do arrive at once, it doesn't really matter because you can randomly assign them to breakout rooms. So it's no biggie. Anyway, having set everything up and got the first lot of people in, I set up the breakout rooms and just sent people off to the rooms. And then after a couple of minutes, Sharon said, hang on, there's a countdown going on. Why is there a countdown going on? Now, normally we would put people into rooms and just leave them there until we're ready to start at 10:30. But of course, that's quite a long time for people who are in the first tranche asked to turn up. That could be potentially sort of 45 minutes in the same room with the same people, which isn't really what you normally do at networking. Now, unbeknown to me, Sharon, you want to say what you were thinking that very morning?
That very morning, I woke up, had my cup of tea, as I always do in bed. I say in bed. I wake up on the sofa every morning and then go upstairs to my bed and have my cup of tea.
Yeah.
That's another story.
That's a gem story.
That's a gem story, indeed. And so I was sitting there having my cup of tea and just sort of thinking about the day, and I was thinking, do you know when people come in, and for the registration thing, and the first tranche sort of come in at sort of 9:45, it's actually quite a long time for that group of people to be with the same people for 45 minutes before we start to turn. I was thinking, maybe. So I think what I'll ask Jeanette to do is just kind of like, after maybe like 15, 20 minutes to just like mix the groups up so that group will like with a different group. And I was like, just thinking about that. And I was like, okay, yeah, we definitely, need to do that.
Yeah.
And then it kind of happened
I
anyway.
know. So you thought that, didn't say anything to me. Then I set up these rooms and completely forgot to look at what the default setting had been on the breakout rooms, and it was 7 minutes. So we're getting this countdown for people coming back out. It's like, oh no, and now I've got other people coming in. So it's like, do you know what? We'll just send them back out to rooms again. We'll send them out to a different room.
Yeah.
So we just kept doing that. So they had 7 minutes of in one room, then out again, then back into another room. And as we had more and more people come along, I just increased the number of breakout rooms that we randomly assigned people to. And actually the feedback from everybody was that, oh no, we really enjoy this. It's really great. Because it was much more like you would normally do at a face-to-face mingly networking type thing. Is, you speak to a few people for a few minutes and then you move on and speak to some more people for a few minutes. And particularly Audrey was loving it, wasn't she? She's our first speaker as well. Which I'm really enjoying this. So it was kind of, right, everybody back, brilliant. Click, off you go again. Bye.
Everybody was loving it. They were kind of like, oh, this is like speed dating. We're loving it.
Oh dear. So what was actually an accident was something that you were thinking of anyway and turned out to be something that worked really well.
Absolutely.
So yes, long live that style of doing it, whether it's for 1, 2, or hopefully not 3, but however many more virtual Trainer Talk lives we have to do. But such a great day, really good, really good.
Really good, really good day. So that was really the highlight of the week. And just as a little aside to that, which some people might be interested to know, so the Woodside Hotel, which was our venue for the last 2 years, I think we've been there, 2 years or 3 years.
3 years, I think,
3 years. We were going to be moving this year anyway to the Woodland Grange, which is where we always used to be initially. A number of reasons for that. One was the cost, two was just the fact that it's just much bigger. As Trainers Talk Live has just got bigger, then the room we had at Woodside was just getting more and more of a squeeze, really, to be honest. So we'd already decided to do that, but noticed today that the Woodside unfortunately has been a casualty of COVID.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose it's not surprising, but it is sad. Even though we wouldn't have been there this year anyway. It's like it wasn't a sort of never going back type thing. Although I will say when we originally left the Woodland Grange, it was kind of we're never going back to this place. But then they underwent a change of management, right? And so it just shows what difference that can make. But I do think, I think as a group of hotels and conference centres, I do think that is ripe for some kind of investor to come along and snap it up and breathe new life into it. I don't think it will be gone forever. But it is very sad to hear that it's been a casualty now, because we've had many happy memories there apart from anything else. So I've had some really great events and great speakers there. So it's a real shame. And also I think that there's not that many places that cater for large groups like ours, actually. I don't know what, and funnily enough, we'll come onto this for our top of mind. We don't know what the world's going to look like. We don't know what new normal actually is yet. We're all sort of trying to feel our way into it, but I can't believe that new normal won't include Woodside being resurrected in some shape or form by somebody, for sure. But
But anyway, so that was that. So it was a good day. So that in summary, it was a really, really good day. Nice way to end the week. But the casualty of it is that you wake up Saturday morning and go, oh my God, I've just got so many things to do. Oh my God.
It does. It takes a whole day out of the week, doesn't it? For sure. And I mean, I was thinking on the Thursday last week, how did I cope when actually we ended up going up on Wednesday afternoon, ready for the Ambassador's Day on Thursday all day, and then also Trainer Talk Live on the Friday. It's like, how did I squeeze 5 days of work into 2.5 days? Feels impossible now, but
I know. But probably we've taken. Well, I've been saying to you that this feeling of just having too much to do at the moment is my own fault. I have got too much to do at the moment, but it's my own fault because I've got so much going on, so many different programs and things like that. And so, you know, the only person I can blame is myself for the pickle that I've got myself into.
Well, you know, I mean, it could be a worse pickle. There could be
True.
nothing going on, for sure. But that's when you're in the middle of it, and I know exactly where you're at the moment, where you just think, I've got so much to do, I don't know where to start, because whatever I start with, it's going to end up making something else behind. And
Mm,
you know, when you feeling like you're behind before you started, that's the worst. I hate that feeling, where you
mm,
wake up in the morning and you already know that you're not going to be able to catch up with yourself by the end of the day, even if you work flat out for the whole day.
mm,
You know, I had that a few weekends ago, maybe 3 or 4 weekends ago, where I woke up on the Saturday morning and I was just thinking about everything that I needed to get done and just thinking, wow, there's nothing like waking up on a Saturday morning and knowing that your weekend is gone before it's even started.
mm,
And that's awful.
yeah,
I hate that
yeah.
feeling. But like you say, you know, you have no one to blame but yourself. Um, yeah, okay, we are both to a certain extent masters of our own destiny insofar as what we do, but sometimes, you know, you can't necessarily even out the work that comes in from clients. I mean, certainly from my point of view, I can't necessarily do that. So there is a little bit of got to take it when it's there kind of thing.
Mm,
And yes, there's a little bit of manoeuvring that I can do, and there's a little bit of manoeuvring that you can do, but at the same time, you sort of plan all this stuff out, and then it can sometimes come up and hit you, can't it, in a kind of wave of, oh, okay, yeah, there's quite a lot to get done. And particularly I think it's not a problem if you are clear on everything that you need to do, but if there is something that you need to do that you need to spend a bit of thinking time on, and your
mm.
brain isn't cooperating, that's when it can start to creep into the realms of
Well,
overwhelm. Yeah.
absolutely, and that was exactly what was happening on Saturday because you know, I had this webinar to put together for the Complete Trainer
Hmm.
on Friday, and you know, it was just like I had so much stuff going around in my head as to what I could put in there, but none of it was kind of like joining up. It was just like spinning off. I was like, oh my God, you know, and I don't respond well to working under pressure. Never have.
Yeah.
Even when I was at school, I was one of these kids who, you know, if somebody said to me, okay, you've got 10 minutes to do this sum or whatever, I would just like panic and would just like, I can't think of anything. I can't do this. I can't do this. And, you know, and I was like that. I'm just like that.
Yeah.
You give it need to do in my own time. And then I will get it done and I will think straight and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But as soon as you put me under any kind of time pressure, whoa, I know some people work really well like that, but I don't. I never have done,
Yeah.
you know. So, so that was quite stressful over the weekend.
Sounds like
sort of,
it.
I know. So, we've all been there, I guess, but it's not a nice feeling when you're in that situation.
No,
for sure.
it's not at all. It's not at all. But I think the important thing to say is that in that instance, in that circumstance, you took your own advice, and just sort of said, look, I can only do one thing at a time, so I will do one thing at a time. And that's how you get through that, right? I mean, we've talked
That
about
is,
overwhelm before on the podcast.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, that I think we talked about it last week as well, because, you know, having that little sticker on at the bottom of my computer, which tells me to just show up one thing at a time, is just proving invaluable, so useful, because it just reminds me of when I had that horrible feeling. And it can be a physical feeling as well. You literally feel it physically. You start to feel it, you know, in your stomach or whatever, and you start to go, oh, you know, and I just look at that going, no, okay, and just one thing at a time. And I close all my tabs, close all my Facebook, close all my and just focusing on whatever I happen to be doing at the time, because otherwise I just don't get anything done. Or I end up feeling just like completely frazzled. But doing it this way helps you to just feel control.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sort of.
I agree entirely. I do exactly the same. I have to force myself to recognize that you can do one thing at a time. So just do the thing that you're doing, and do that to your best of your ability at the moment. And then the next thing will be done to the best of your ability in the moment, and so on and so forth. And you know, the world doesn't explode. Eventually things get done and get sorted out. But when you're stuck in the moment of it, it's horrible. Hate it. Hate it. So I have to keep repeating as well that I know it's for now, it's not forever. I know it's for now, it's not forever.
Well, exactly. And the other thing as well that helped me over the weekend was reminding myself about outsourcing, because, you know, I'd done all the thinking and I knew what I wanted to put into the webinar, and what was taking the time was faffing around with all the slides, which I don't enjoy. And because I'm such a perfectionist with them, I like to find the best picture that I possibly can, which isn't always the sort of like the stock photo one with a bearded man. It would be something a little bit different and a little bit more quirky, and also even better if it's the right kind of colour that goes with the temp and all this. And I could literally spend an hour just looking for one photo. And I on Sunday morning I woke up and had all these things to do. And then I had a meeting with Shane, obviously, because we do that at the weekend because he works full time during the week. So Shane, for listeners that don't know, is my lovely money accounts bookkeeping type person. And so we did that, and then I thought, I've got to do my yoga. I'm not going to let that go and do my yoga. And then I got to take Jem out for a walk, and then I came back. Then I had the afternoon, and I was like, oh, right, okay, I do not want to be spending hours this afternoon going through this, you know, trying to find pictures. And then I get to 7 o'clock. Oh, and by the way, I had to do my 30-day program thing at 7. I get to 7 o'clock and still be in the middle of it and faffing. And then I thought, oh, okay, I've got somebody in my team that I bet he'd be really good at doing PowerPoint presentations. Why don't I just ask him if he would do it? And of course he said yes. I was like, oh, thank you, God.
Brilliant. And it's like a weight is lifted off your shoulders.
Oh my God. You know, now of course I will stress about, is he going to be putting the right kind of picture in there? Is he going to be like doing it? I said to him, I need this done by Wednesday because I need a couple of days to check through it and make sure everything's okay and make amendments. Like don't pitch up with this stuff on like Friday morning or Thursday night. You know, this has got to be on Wednesday. So but immediately I just felt so much better. But then of course this morning I woke up and I was like, oh, I hope he's going to do that on time for me.
And I mean, this is the irrationality of it, is that you've got no reason to suspect that he won't, because he's really good and really conscientious. Really good, he's got a great work ethic, hasn't he? But it's that ridiculous kind of when you're in the kind of, you're in the phase of worrying as opposed to the phase of creating or thinking or anything like that, then you just worry about everything, don't you? Totally.
Yeah, absolutely do. So it was a little bit of a fraught weekend, not the most relaxing weekend in the world, but then again, not as if I had anything pretty much else to do.
But that wasn't the only thing that happened this weekend. Right? Come on.
You're gonna love this, don't you? You're gonna love this. So, and it's so good that we could do this visually, because people could actually watch what was happening. So it was really funny. So I was sat here Saturday morning at my computer, obviously, when Jim comes in, my husband, and he goes, plonks all those sort of different letters that had come through the letterbox, and, you know, plonked them on that. And I was like, yeah. Okay, I look at that. And generally they're there and I look at them later. Mostly junk mail, isn't it? Let's face it. And then I sort of, and he said to me, you've got a letter there from the NHS. And I went, oh, okay, really? Not really thinking anything of it, you know, because it could be anything, couldn't it? And but then I did notice that always a blue envelope, and somebody had told me that, you know, what's in these blue envelopes. So I opened this blue envelope, again, still not thinking it, and of course half of it's in Welsh, you know. And that's, you've got to get through the Welsh first, and then all the rest of it, and then I looked at it and I was like, oh, book your coronavirus vaccine. And I thought, okay, all right, that seems a bit. I didn't think I was kind of due for one yet, but, you know, hey ho, whatever. Anyway, so then Jim comes in and he goes, what's that? And I went, oh, apparently it's the coronavirus. He went, what? Give it to me. It's not. And I said, well, I think it is. That's what he said. Yeah, but you should be having one now. And why haven't I got one? And like, I'm a higher group than you. And I'm like, I don't know why.
They just sent it to me, that's all.
kind of corona virus vaccine envy going on, you know. Then it was like, well, you know, what's happening? So I don't know. I've no idea. So then I got into the thing about, okay, I'll leave this till Monday. So to be honest, I'm not really looking forward to it. You know, I'm not so bothered about the needle, but I'm a bit bothered about the, you know, the reactions.
Yeah.
I hate being ill, you know.
Yeah, me too.
So anything, you know, but I keep saying it's probably not going to be any worse than your average hormone day. But anyway, so then, you know, the afternoon I thought, oh, let's just do it now, get it out of the way. So go on the website, get it, you know, look, you know, go through the different things, tick, 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 comes up, you know, your nearest vaccination centres are Taunton and they're all in Devon. And I'm like 90 miles away. And I'm like,
you actually have to go to a different country. I mean, that's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I was like something, and then I kind of went, oh, well, my first reaction was, well, I'm not doing that.
No.
There's no way I'm getting in my car, so forget that. So I'll put it to once, because it also said, check back later, because we're opening up new vaccination centres all the time. So I thought, okay, whatever. Then I got thinking about it, and I was like, I don't think this is right. Yeah. One, I'm not in the right age group to get a vaccine, and two, I'm not even in the right. It just doesn't seem something's
gone
right
wrong
here.
somewhere. Yeah.
So then I was sort of then, you know, in obviously Amy was you know, saying to me, oh, Mum, you know what? Well, I don't think something's got. You need to sort of check that and everything. In the meantime, Jim's still grumbling about the fact that he has hatches and everything. Anyway, so then I bring the GP this morning. And they said to me, I said, oh, and they said, oh, what's your name? They looked me up on the system and they went, well, you shouldn't be called for a vaccination centre. I was like, I know that.
Oh dear. Yes, thank you for telling me.
So basically I've been told to ring a vaccination centre now to check that I will be on a list for when it is the appropriate time.
Yes.
But in the meantime, get back in your box.
Back in your box, missus.
And wait
Come
your
on.
turn.
Stop trying to queue jump. You know we hate that.
Oh gosh,
that's hilarious.
It was all very funny. Honestly, it was like something out of a soap opera. It was just so funny. I've never seen him get so worked up about anything. It was like,
you shouldn't be first. I should be first. It's like, yeah, it's not like the conch in Lord of the Flies or something. It's not like whoever has it has the power. Give me the letter, therefore I'll have the vaccine.
Dear. So yeah, very funny, very funny. So we're no further on, so I will let you know.
Indeed.
Was to, you know, my name could be, you know, roaming around anywhere on some
any
system.
Any system. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Yeah, I know. I'm just waiting to get my letter through, and then they try and send me to the Isle of Wight or something. It's like,
no, well, I'm
not going over water. Yeah.
We can wave at each other as we pass each other.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh, but this is not the only excitement that has happened to you in the last week, is it?
Not
Sharon?
The only excitement.
No, we have got a solution for one of the world's biggest current problems, haven't we?
Absolutely, yes. The lovely big shout out to Emma Williams, who sent me a present in the post this week, something known as the Tangle teaser, which is the solution to stop hairbrushes getting stuck in my hair.
Hey!
Amazing. And I'm pleased to report, Emma, that it actually does the job. And so no longer do I have to send Jeanette pictures of my brush being stuck in my hair every time I wash it.
Although, yes, really I mean, you know, my mirth quotient has gone down now because, you know, I won't be getting pictures like that anymore.
Well, yeah, got out of the shower and I was like, oh, okay.
Look at me brushing my hair.
Without painful processes being involved.
Oh, that's brilliant. I love it.
I didn't get one of these years ago. I don't know, because I remember that it was a very famous thing. It was on the Dragon's Den, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it was actually, I think nobody invested in it, did they?
Mm-hmm.
And the guy went off, and it was one of their infamous fails, wasn't it?
Yes.
When he went off, and he was kind of, because he was a hairdresser,
Mm.
and he was like, oh well, I will somebody up yours type thing.
Yeah,
and
good for him.
yeah, he's been proved right, because he's
Absolutely.
made an absolute fortune. It is a marvelous invention, I have to say.
Changed, revolutionised your life.
Yes, revolutionised. It's made me. It's made everything a bit less painful until I'm allowed to return to the hairdressers.
Exactly.
Because I tell you what, I will be there knocking on the door, vaccine or no vaccine. I will be there.
Let me in. Get your scissors on me. Come on. Oh dear. Yeah, my mum. Although I think her hairdressers phoned her to get her booked in on, I think the day after they open up or something like that. So so that would be good. But so quite an eventful week for you then, really, all in all.
A very eventful week, yes indeed.
Good, well, that's all right.
Yeah.
Well,
what about your week? Top that then.
Do you know what? I don't think I can, although I did have something quite exciting happen, and I can't actually show you on camera because of the way it's set up, but instead of having my microphone on a little stand, and regular listeners to the podcast will remember me talking about how my little my little microphone stand was a bit worse for wear because it kept falling on the floor because of the setup and the desk and all the rest of it with the sit stand desk part. I kept forgetting and raise the desk up and it will go flip on the floor. So the little tripod legs, one of them was a bit wonky, so it kind of sat to one side, and it was just a bit awkward having to move it in and out of the way. So I decided to invest in a microphone stand, one of these ones that clips to your desk so you can move it in and out of the way. So it's sitting kind of just off camera here at the moment, and it is movable in and out, so I can just push it to the side of the monitor when I don't need to speak into it. And it's if your hairbrush has revolutionised your life, this has revolutionised my lives. It's amazing, because as soon as I get somebody else, bring the microphone in. Yes, I can talk to you, and then push the microphone back. It's not in my way. It's brilliant. And it was only like 12 quid on Amazon. So I was like, why did I not do this before? This is bonkers. Because I've been thinking about it for a while, but it's one of those things where because it's not a problem all the time, every day, despite the number of Zoom stuff and calls and what have you that I do, it was just one of those things that you never get around to, right? And then for some reason, I can't remember why, I had to get Scamp new collar and lead because he chased the cat, broke the other one. I think I mentioned this the other week. And because of what I ordered, Amazon forced, there was still a choice, forced me to sign up to Prime, which I've been avoiding because I don't really want to feel like I have to order stuff to justify the money that I'm paying out every month, because I don't order that much that often. However, what they basically said was get it the next day with Prime or pay a £5 delivery. And it's just like, I'm not paying a £5 delivery on this stuff. Yeah, I don't mind waiting, but if they'd given me the option of get it tomorrow for free, get it in a week for free, or pay a £5 to get it tomorrow, then I'd have waited a week, So I thought, oh, well, I'll sign up to Prime. I know I can cancel it. And then I was thinking, well, actually, whilst I have got this, I need to get the book for this month's Trainer Talk Book Club. And I want to see if there is another couple of books in there that I might want to get. I might as well look at microphone arms, stands, whatever they're called. So I looked at this one. It had good reviews, and I thought, oh, well, if it works just for a little bit, then great, because it's only 12 quid. If it doesn't work at all, it's only 12 quid. But if it works brilliantly, well, fantastic. And then at some point I can look at investing when I want to upgrade my microphone, which I will do at some point. When I want to upgrade the other things, then there are package deals that you can get with the proper arms and, more bells and whistles and that kind of thing. So it would be slightly more manoeuvrable than it is at the moment. But I have to say, best 12 quid I've spent in a long time, because it's just great, just being able to sort of sit here and know that it's still picking up everything, but I can just easily move it out of the way and it's not going to fall on the floor and get a bit wonky. So that's really good. Very happy about that. Rattled through the book for Trainer Talk Book Club, I have to say.
I saw that.
Yeah, it was
so
just
you hasn't even bought it yet.
Dead easy to read. Dead easy to read. Really nice writing style, actually, and has given me lots of thoughts for writing my own, apart from anything else. But for those of you that aren't in Trainer Talk Book Club, join Trainer Talk, because then you can join the Trainer Talk Book Club. But we're reading for March Gretchen Rubin's The Four Tendencies, and just reading it and working out which one I am, and just reading the stuff going, yep, yeah, that's me. So it was great, but it was just written in such a way that it was just like, actually, I just want to carry on. And I literally yesterday morning was up at mum's in my bubble, and I thought, I'll just start reading this, see how I feel about it. Didn't want to put it down. It was just like, okay. And it was so interesting. And mum was, what's the book? And I said, well, business book, Train Talk Book Club, blah, blah, blah. She said, can I do the quiz like this? I said, yeah, I know what you're going to turn out to be. And she's like, all right then. So she's doing the quiz, and she's got, a few little rebellious streaks in her, but she did turn out to be exactly what I thought she was going to be. She's like, is that me? Yes, mum, that is absolutely you for sure. But it was great. It was really, really good. And just, every now and again you do get a book like that where you just consume it, you hoover it up, because it's easy to digest. It's really nicely written, and written in a way that kind of, there's a real flow to it, so you don't feel like putting it down, so you don't. So looking forward to that discussion. And then I was looking in my calendar and thinking, oh my god, the next Trainer Talk Book Club discussion is actually after the clocks go forward. It's like, spring is coming.
It really is now.
It's very exciting.
It's light when you wake up in the morning now as well, isn't it? That's sort of, the last time I wake up in the morning. So, I have to define the first time I wake up in the morning, because it could be
there's a bit of bit of gem decision making in there, really, isn't there?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, the weekend shift didn't really last very long. So
really? All righty. Well, you'll have to tell him he won't get his letter from the NHS. Anyway, shall we talk about our top of mind topic? Because I think this is one that affects everybody. Actually, whether you like it or not, you have no choice. It has to have affected you in some way, shape, or form. So, do you want to explain what we're chatting about?
COVID, obviously, this thing that we've been living with for almost a year. It's coming up to the anniversary. Actually, something in my this morning, actually, because I knew I was going to really enjoy this. I've got this thing about in my diary.
Yes.
And I look back at the same, and I was really interested as we're coming into March, because obviously everything was happening. Yeah. So yesterday was hilarious, because I looked at the 8th of March. Oh, it's today actually. Yeah. So the 8th of March last year was a Sunday. Yeah. And I wrote in my diary, one of the things that I wrote in my diary, but the funniest thing was I went to Dunelm to get my bedding. Happy days, it's massive, because that was the first time I'd ever been to Dunelm in Swansea, and it was like huge. It was much bigger than the one I used to go to in Worcester. So, and I remember going there and just being, this is great. And that was the last time that I really went in a proper shop, in a shop, really. Yeah. And I didn't have any inkling of what was about to happen until later on in the week, Thursday, the 12th of March, I wrote, coronavirus getting out of hand. I have to keep perspective and stop panicking. Yeah. And then also, that must have been earlier in the day. And then later in the day, on the 12th of March, I was doing in the evening, I wrote, really felt like it was a tipping point today, and the world is shutting down. Ryan's tennis season has ended. The college has closed down. Wow. And that was the 12th of March. Yeah. And then Friday the 13th, it certainly is. The world feels like it's shutting down. What can I control? Staying positive, although it's okay and normal to have an occasional wobble. As Michael Neal says, thoughts come and go. Spending a lot of time now thinking how I can support Trainer Talk members. So, you know, it's been a year. It's been a year since all this stuff happened. And, you know, what a year it's been for many of us, you know, in our businesses and in life. And I just thought it would be maybe just have a little chat about what's changed in the last year.
Yeah.
You know, what has anything changed? Are we just going approaching our businesses in the same old way, or have you made some changes in your business? How has it affected you?
Yeah.
What about you, Jeanette?
Oh, goodness me, that's a short question with a long answer, isn't it? I mean,
Sun is like...
I know. Yes, just you know, just contort yourself so that.
I hope nobody watches this and that they just listen, because
yeah, but the thing is, they'll listen to this and go, I have to go and see what it looks like now. So
please don't,
approximately
people,
34 minutes in, folks. That's where you want to fast forward the YouTube video to see Sharon trying to do the sun avoidance twist. There you go. That's all right. Yeah?
I don't think it's any better around here.
You need to move your mic round if you go around that way. No, you're right. You're right.
Just right in the way.
It is. I know. See, you do need to get that piece of paper to...
I do. Well, my blinds, I'll be coming soon. I'll be sorting it out.
Yeah, exactly. So, there we are. There you go. Yeah. There she is. So, yes. How has my business changed? Well, on the surface, you might say that it actually hasn't changed that much, insofar as I was always mainly online anyway. So there are things that stopped, obviously. So there's a couple of local networking events that I go to. There are some local businesses that I was talking to about websites, that kind of thing. And that just kind of stopped. And then it was, I remember having a conversation with you and saying, you know, should I get something out there? Because I did go due to go skiing, right? So it was I'm just looking over here to my diary. So yeah, it was the 23rd of March. So the 22nd, I flew out, me and my friend, we flew out to Bulgaria, and we had one day of skiing on the 23rd, and then they shut everything down. And then we had 4 days to wait until our flight back again. And that was... or was it? No, 23rd was the lockdown. So it was the week before. Sorry, I'm telling a lie. So we flew out on Sunday the 15th. We had 1 day of skiing on Tuesday the 16th. Then came back on Friday the 20th. And on the Monday, the 23rd, that was when England went into full lockdown. And it was kind of, I remember saying to you before I went, should I get something out there about online courses, because people are going to need to know this stuff if they're not able to do face-to-face. And we'd already got lots of people having work cancelled at that point, didn't we? And as if people can't do face-to-face, what they're going to do, what they're going to do. And you were saying to me, look, just there's time. There is time. You don't have to. Just go have your holiday, relax as much as you can, and then come back. Never a truer word was spoken, because I would say probably within a couple of days of getting back and the proper lockdown starting, business for me exploded. And you know, I'm one of the lucky corona ones, if you like, and I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one, but there are a group of people for whom their business has grown during corona, and then other people have seen their business completely decimated and wiped out. And then there's people kind of what I would say are in the middle, who have seen their old business model kind of wiped out, but have managed to pivot in some way. And I know we didn't like the pivot word for a long time.
We did not. No, because it was everywhere, wasn't it? It was everywhere.
I mean, I think the problem was people were panic pivoting and pivoting to try and do stuff that really they had no right to do. And there is a difference between learning something and then talking to people about what you've learned and helping them to learn it too, and then, you know, learning something and saying, oh, by the way, I'm the expert in this. And it's like, you've been doing it for a week. You're not an expert in this stuff. And that was, I think, where we were kind of pivot about it. But there are people who have absolutely been able to see the opportunity. And this is one of the core pillars of resilience, is to be able to be pragmatic about what's going on. It's for now, it's not forever, but we don't know how long it's going to go on for. And remember those halcyon days of thinking it'd be over by the summer.
Yeah.
But, you know, it became pretty obvious pretty quickly that it wasn't going to be over by the summer, but still, people were able to see the opportunity there. And those people that have managed to flip their business from being mainly face-to-face, and we're talking trainers mainly here, from being mainly face-to-face to being online delivery, but also, you know, I'm thinking about people like Gail Kaufman, one of our Trainer Talk members, who has got a whole new career as a virtual producer. And, you know, that's amazing. We've got other people. We were talking about Liam Watson, who actually doesn't want to go back to face-to-face. And
Yes,
I've heard that from so many trainers,
many people
saying, actually, I kind of don't want the world to go back to what it was pre-corona, even though it's been a horrible thing to go through. Actually, where I am now and the way I provide what my services and the way I work with people, I much prefer it. I mean, Audrey, speaker from Trainer Talk Live, is a classic.
Yeah, she doesn't want to go back to face-to-face either.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, she was charging around the country all over the place previously. And yet now she's got a really thriving online business. In large part because she conquered her fear about being on camera. But, you know, that is the way that she prefers delivering now. Now, okay, I think there is still adjustment to be had. And one of the questions that I posed in the business clinic that I was in for Trainer Talk Live on Friday afternoon, for anybody that doesn't know, we do these sort of business clinics in the afternoon where you can bring along any challenge, any question, anything you like, and we discuss it and we talk about it, we ask questions about it, and we offer advice with whoever's in the room. So it's very small, kind of mastermindy type thing. And so I posed a question to everybody saying, look, we're in March now, we're coming up to the end of quarter two. Theoretically, by the end of quarter one, theoretically by the end of quarter two, in England at least, we will be out of lockdown, assuming that all things remain equal, our numbers don't go up and infection rates and so on and so forth. The plan is that by the end of quarter two, we will be back to normal, whatever normal looks like. What plans are you making for your business? How is that going to affect what you're doing and how you're doing it? What do you want to get to? What are you going to offer your clients and your potential clients? And it's just really interesting seeing how people have had, in some cases, have had their mindset completely shifted from, you know, even this time last year, probably a little bit earlier, let's say February last year, people thinking, I'm never going to do that online stuff, or if I do, you know, I'll only do a little bit of it, etc., to now being, actually, you know, I'll only do a tiny bit of face-to-face and then you're going to have to pay me a lot for it. It's extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, from my point of view, you know, I'm very glad to have had the explosion in business. I am quite looking forward to things slowing down a tad so I can take some time off. That would be nice. You know, 3 days over Christmas didn't really cut it. So it's kind of swings and roundabouts. What I really, really miss now is just seeing other people, seeing people that I would normally see. So, you know, you, the other Train Talk people, ambassadors, etc., at least 4 times a year, being able to go out and see different people and, goodness me, just being able to go and have a mooch around the shops. Not with the intention of buying anything, but just having a bit of a mooch.
Go and have a coffee. That's the things that I really miss, just going out, because that's what my weekends always used to be about, going out and, you know, just like you say, have a mooch about, going to meet up with friends, go and have a coffee, all that sorts of things, coffee and cake or tea and cake, or that, you know, now, you know, I'd, you know, popping over to Cardiff to, you know, to see Amy and, you know, walk around the lovely shops there and all those sorts of things, you know, it's like
stuff that we so took for granted, But I mean, you know, my fault, we're digressing away from the topic that we were going to talk about, which is this, you know, how has your business changed? Would my business have grown the way it's grown without corona? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I have been quite happily saying, oh yes, Corona has exploded my business, but actually, the stuff I'm doing, I think I've had more commissions for things like websites because people have had the time to think about what they want to do, because they're not rushing around the country delivering training or doing what they're doing. But at the same time, I had already put in the work to sort of, get to the point where people knew what I was doing and knew what I could offer. So maybe it just sort of, accelerated stuff that would have happened anyway, maybe, from that point of view. But it's been a roller coaster for sure.
Oh, and it really has. And the interesting thing that's really struck me over the course of the last year is that it really has shifted people's attitudes massively. That's the thing that's made the difference, because this online stuff has been around for years.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I must have a look actually what the date was that I set my Zoom account up.
Yes.
I can pretty much say it must be at least 5 years.
Oh,
it has
easily.
To be.
Yeah, easily, because you had one before me. Definitely, because I did my first webinars. I did them on Webinar Jam. And then it got so buggy, and I thought, oh, Sharon's using Zoom, maybe I'll do Zoom. I set mine up and looked into it. I remember looking at Zoom and thinking, oh, but people have to download software. Not sure I'm happy about that. But I mean, look at us now. So like that was ever a barrier. But yeah, for sure. So I would say if I started doing webinars in 15, 16, I would say it's probably 6 or 7 years for you, actually.
Probably, yeah. I'm just gonna, but I know it probably is a long time, and that's really, really interesting, and all of the stuff that you were. I mean, it was a standing joke, wasn't it, in the Training Up community? Oh yes, and I bet she says the answer is surprise, the answer is online.
Absolutely.
And and nobody was taking any notice. Nobody was like,
not enough people were taking notice, for sure.
No, and that's why you decided to bring the website thing into your business model, because I remember talking about it at the Ambassadors Day, and we were saying, oh, this online stuff, but it's kind of like a nice to have. It's kind of like, something that people will get round to one day, but it's probably not a priority. And it's just been amazing how that massive shift from being at the bottom of the to-do list to suddenly being elevated to the top.
Totally.
That has just opened up this completely different world for a lot of people.
Yeah, hugely.
And they've gone through this process of kind of, I know I need to do this to survive, but I do it through gritted teeth because I haven't really got to the kind of, oh my God, what's all this about? And I have to learn all this stuff and I'm not sure I can do it, to, I actually quite like this stuff, to, I don't want to ever go back to this. It's it's been incredible.
Yeah, really has. I mean, I obviously couldn't have predicted something like this, but I do distinctly remember saying to people, look, learn about it before you have to, because when you have to, it's going to be unbelievably stressful and overwhelming, because you feel like you're behind all the time. Like, oh that's a good idea. Oh my God, I need to learn about this stuff. Okay, well, me sitting here saying I told you so isn't going to help anybody, is it? So let's take it step by step and do this. I remember putting out, actually, whilst I was away skiing, because obviously we only skied for the first day. So I started putting out a tip a day. I only did 8 of them because it was like, okay, I'm going to put some stuff out there and it will be helpful for people. But after that, if you want more of this stuff, then it's a paid service. And do you remember we had that huge kind of question that people were getting into quite heated debates about, is, oh well, this is awful, people's livelihoods are being taken away, you should give away your knowledge for free. It's like,
that was all going on at the start.
It really was. Like, no, I disagree. I absolutely fundamentally disagree. What good does it do for somebody, yes, there are people who are in a situation where they don't know where their next month's money is going to come from, and that's awful, but why should I put myself in the same situation? It doesn't do anything for them, for me to put myself in the same situation, because
it takes the money out of, I always felt at the start of this really strongly that we have to particularly as small business owners, we all have to keep paying each other,
Yes.
because if we all stop paying each other,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
guess what?
Small
That
businesses
doesn't
keep
do
the economy going.
anybody any good, does
Yeah,
it?
completely.
So it's been really interesting, and I think, certainly our businesses, both of our businesses, are in much better shape than they were this time last year,
sure.
which is amazing.
Extraordinary,
when you think about it.
yes.
Absolutely amazing. And I do think that there are a lot of other people like us, and I'm not just talking about training businesses. I mean, in the wider economy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really sad that side of it isn't really getting reported.
Yeah.
So for example, when my blind man, he's not blind, he's who came to measure up for the blinds last week. I mean, I haven't seen him since he's done all the blinds in the house. So the last time he came was in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And so this time he came into the study, was measuring, and I said, "Oh, how are you? How are you doing? Everything?" He said, "You're still really busy," because he said he was really busy last time I saw him. And he was like, "Oh God, it's gone even more bonkers. It's just so busy."
Yeah.
Do you know what? He said, "I've had my best year ever."
Yeah.
Since, and that is because people are at home, so they kind of think, "Oh, that needs doing.
Mm-hmm.
Got all this spare money because they're not going
Yep.
on holiday, putting petrol in the car and all this sort of thing, so they're spending that money on their homes, and so for people like him, he's really reaped the rewards. Happy days. But that doesn't really get reported, does it?
No.
If you look on the news, it's all about all these people who are going out of business, and it's really sad. But there is another side to it that I think should be taken into account.
I agree, absolutely. And I think the sad thing is, I think there are some people who are almost afraid to say, actually, I've had my best year in business. I mean, I'm quite happy to say, last year was my best year in business. In terms of turnover, it was amazing. But yeah, I mean, it came at a price. I was on my knees by the end of the year for sure. But I think that a lot of people don't want to say something like that in the online space, because then you get the ridiculous trolley type people jumping on going, well, not everybody's in the same position. I know not everybody's in the same position, but just because somebody is in a worse position doesn't mean that I'm not allowed to be happy about being in my position. There's not a finite amount of feeling in the world. It's like, it's perfectly possible for somebody to be in an awful place and for somebody to be in a happy place. And just because somebody's in a happy place doesn't mean that you have to, poke at them and tell them off for being happy about their situation. They're allowed. It's just, I have never understood that argument. And, I appreciate that. I personally, I think I said at the beginning of this, I've been one of the lucky ones with Corona, just to try and say, look, I know that there are people that have, had a really quite dire time of it. I understand that. But understanding that doesn't mean that I'm not going to say or tell the truth, which is my business has exploded. And I'm
as many of us have.
Exactly. Now, whether that will continue or not, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm going to do my best to keep riding this wave for as long as I can, within a few little adjustments. Like, I quite like sleep. I'd like to have a bit more sleep, and a few more weekends back. That would be nice. But nice. I've missed other things like hockey. I mean, the hockey season this season has just been decimated completely. Great. Team sports come back at the end of March. That's kind of when the normal grassroots hockey season ends, actually. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff to consider in this. But yeah, I think in terms of how we now move forward with our businesses, I've got plans for things that I want to do, and I'm kind of trying to get myself into the position of, right, what can I reasonably hope to achieve by the end of this quarter, by the end of next quarter. I don't know what the world's going to look like for quarter 3, quarter 4. I don't even know if in quarter 2 we are indeed going to come out of lockdown and everything's back to normal, whatever that might be. But it's definitely not going to look the same as it did before Corona, before lockdown 1, for sure. So, how can I keep looking out for the opportunities and looking out for, how I need to make sure I am positioned so that people, as and when they are in the market for the sorts of stuff that I do, I'm there. They know
Yeah.
that I exist, even if they ultimately choose not to buy with me. That's fine.
Yeah.
They just, all I can do is make sure that people know what I can do, and that's it, really. So, and I guess it's the same for you, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And who knows? We just don't know. We were talking about this before, didn't
Yeah.
we? We were saying lots of these people are, making plans for holidays and said, oh, we're going to be doing this. I was like, hold on. We just don't know. I
No.
think there's a lot of things that need to be, because it is, things are changing all the time. And it could all go pear-shaped at any moment. So I think we just have to take it one step at a time, don't we?
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah.
But it has definitely been an interesting year.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
One adjective we can use.
True. All righty. So, Dog Walking Digest, Sharon.
Oh, Dog Walking
How's
Digest.
the gem?
Well, Jem, it's just getting more difficult to walk her. She will go out 3 times a day, but she's so slow.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to go, and it looks cruel because you have to kind of drag her down the hill, and she doesn't like being on the lead. When she let her off the lead, she's a bit better. She doesn't, and she perks up a bit, but she is very slow. And now she's, I was saying over the weekend, she's started to have wheeze in the house and things, and not sure why. She just seems to do it for no reason. Whether she forgets to go outside, I don't know. And then we just had this little incident, didn't we, just before we started recording, when she just, just let out. Yes, you were talking about you. They just let out this squeal and then collapsed on the floor. So I was worried that she couldn't get up again, and the next minute she got up and then she did a running jump and jumped on the sofa. Saw that about. So
very odd.
She's just getting old.
She is.
Like it. I don't like it.
I know. Poor Gem.
I know, but I'll be glad. But she's still very, very shaggy. So, as soon as those dog groomers reopen again, we'll be first in the queue. Jem with a coat, me with the hair.
For sure. Well, Mum's dog Copper is exactly the same. He's so fluffy at the moment. I mean, he's put on his Corona Stone, the dog equivalent, although quite a few kilos. So he's a bit rotund in the tummy area at the moment. I mean, part of that is the steroids that he's been on, obviously, for his illness. So we're not worrying about it at the moment. And even the vet said, look, don't even try at the moment. Just let him until he's been weaned off the steroids. And this week he goes down to 1 tablet every other day. He's still every now and again a little bit wheezy, but nowhere near as bad as he was, but of course, constantly hungry and thirsty. But definitely very, very fluffy, this kind of barrel shape in the middle of fluffiness. It's like, I think even if we shave that's still going to stay the same shape. Scamp's good. He's still enjoying the first walk over the park after we come back from the weekend up at Mum's. I always forget on a Monday morning we have to sniff everything because we haven't been here for a whole day. So because he gets his normal Saturday morning walk, and then I just drop him in the park a little bit before we go up to Mum's, and then we're not back until Monday morning. So clearly that's enough time for tons of stuff to have changed, and different dogs around and all the rest of it. So it's always a bit slower than I want it to be on a Monday morning, because I want to get going and come on, it's a new week, get stuff done, kind of thing. So we were sniffing everything this morning, but no, he's all good. And
good. All right. Well, on that note, I think we will say a fond farewell for this week.
Indeed. Sayonara.
Have a good week, everybody.
Yeah.
And we look forward to doing it all again.
Absolutely. Yeah, take it easy, everybody. Take care. Bye.
Bye.